So we started just a few minutes ago because of second of power shut, all of this communication was disturbed. So, but we started in person. So now the recording going on.
Charging is it getting charged?
It's a charge there, no doubt.
No.
Yeah, charging. Yes.
Okay.
So charging and also it's being streamed. So it was little hitch was there. Always in technology, some hitch is always expected. That's why earlier times they went away from town and villages and went to the forest, where there were no modern amenities, but there were no disturbance also. So with all this thing, disturbance comes, and we cannot do all which we think like. So now we start page 432, and it is in the middle of that page. Advice to an actor. Sri Ramakrishna was busy whole day. Sri Ramakrishna in the afternoon at about 5 o'clock, he was sitting on the steps of the step that led to Shiva temple in Dakshineshwar. And Sri Ramakrishna slowly came to the lower steps where devotees were there. Where devotees, other Dr. Nitai, Yam, and several other devotees were there. So, and Sri Ramakrishna is saying, I want to tell you something. A change has been coming over my nature. That I was describing how Sri Ramakrishna wanted to be mm, close with the people and wanted people to feel him close. And as it is said, though he is Acharyana Mahacharya, he is the he is the greatest of teachers, teacher of the teachers. So, and also he is the Avatara Varishta. But that's why because he's Avatara Varishta, he's Acharyana Mahacharya. That's why he's one with everyone. Sri Krishna, the Jagat Guru, he says that Surin Mitrar Udasina Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhusu. Like God is Surit, dear friend, true friend, and Mitra. That is all the nature of God. God is our dearest friend, always with us, always making us feel equal to Him, and also always helping us without desiring anything from us. Just He wants to help us. So that is God. Here also it is the same thing. Sri Ramakrishna comes to the steps below where others were sitting close to him. They say about Jagannath Rath Yatra also. Just we had Rath Yatra a week ago. And Jagannath Rath Yatra, they say people go to the temple, to Jagannath temple to see him throughout the year. And one day, Jagannath says, no, devotees won't have to come to me. I will go to the devotees to see them. I will go to meet my devotees. So like that, Sri Ramakrishna coming to the steps down to meet with all and making them feel that he is friend of all. Master, you are devotees. I have no hesitation in telling you this. Nowadays, I don't see spirit form of God. He is revealed to me in human form. It is my nature to see the form of God, to touch and embrace Him. God is saying to me, you have assumed a body, therefore enjoy God through His human forms. So Sri Ramakrishna first said, you are devotees. It's such a glory to be called devotees of God. Devotees are those who are very close to God. People worship God in various degrees. So some just want things from God, some just praise a little God so that he doesn't become angry and doesn't no harm befalls on them. Different types of connection for a person. He is the real, they are the real lover of God, who love God, and that is the goal of their life, loving God. And that is perhaps the very high degree of evolution, spiritual evolution, when we get connected to God, and through real love, which doesn't demands or wants anything, which just seeks to be close to God, enjoys the company of God. That's what the devotee of God is. And Sri Ramakrishna says, I have no hesitation in saying you my inner thoughts, my inner experiences. And what's come to him? Nowadays, change has come to him. What change? Earlier, he saw God, spirit form of God. What is the spirit form of God? Spirit form of God is seeing God as Mother Kali. Spirit form, Mother Kali, though it is human form, but it's not totally human being. So Shiva, Vishnu, when you have vision of God in those forms, this is the spirit form, the spirit taken the human form. So other is like seeing God in human beings. That is the human form of God. Sri Ramakrishna says, now inner urge in me is to see God in human beings. The thing that God is something separate from me, greater from me, different from me has gone. God is one who moves around me as human beings, seeing the divinity in every human being. When you totally you remove all the imperfections from a human being and see the human being as the spirit, though it is not, he doesn't make it spirit form, but the human being is seen as the spirit, as total manifestation of God. All the imperfection of human being are put aside, and only God reveals through them. So that is the human form of God. Every form of God, every human form is seen as God. That Swami Vivekananda says that I worship that God whom ignorant call human beings or man. So that ignorant people see as human being, and Swami Vivekananda worship him as God. He finds full perfection, full manifestation of God. So that's Sri Ramakrishna also. If you listen to the speeches, lectures of Swami Vivekananda and read his complete works and read his letters, you'll find all explanation from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Vivekananda was all Sri Ramakrishna within, explaining Sri Ramakrishna, becoming Sri Ramakrishna, becoming more closer to us, speaking in the language that we understand, speaking in English. Sri Ramakrishna didn't know English except they say half a dozen of words. He used to say thank you, beautiful, philosophy, something he used to say like that. He said half a dozen of words he knew. Then came Sri Ramakrishna into Swami Vivekananda. Outside Swami Vivekananda, inside Sri Ramakrishna, with the brain, intellect, skill, and the scholarship of Swami Vivekananda. Sri Ramakrishna speaks. All he spoke in Bengali, the Kathamrita starts speaking in English to huge audience. There he spoke with a few devotees. Yeah, now he speaks to thousands of people here in the West, in the East, everywhere. But all the things that he spoke in the gospel is more explained in beautiful language, in different language by Swami Vivekananda. They will find the same thing, that human beings are God. So let us go and make it still clear. God, no doubt, dwells in all, but he manifests himself more through man than through other beings. Is man an insignificant thing? He can think of God. He can think of the infinite, while other living beings cannot. God exists in other living beings, animals, plants, nay, in all beings. But he manifests himself more through man than through these others. Fire exists in all beings, in all things, but its presence is felt more in wood. Rama said to Lakshmana, look at the elephant, brother. He is such a big animal, but he cannot think of God. So, manifestation of awareness of God in different degrees, in different beings. So, human beings have the quality and capacity to think of God. Others cannot think of God. And it says human being can think of infinity. To think of infinity, we cannot comprehend infinity. Infinity defined is not something, because mind is finite, it cannot comprehend infinity as such. But we can have our own imagination of infinity. The infinity will be vast, like no end of no barrier, the ocean, water without any shore, the sky without any limit. So that will be infinity we can think of. Though infinity as defined is doesn't match with the finite extension of the finite, doesn't become infinity. infinity is entity by itself, which cannot be comprehended by mind. But we can try to think about the infinity. Even that gives us some idea how the God, huge, vast, will be God. So it is about the vastness that we can think, a lot of vastness, which other beings cannot think. And he says that is is human being an insignificant thing? How Shankara describes the human being to be one of the greatest grace of God by which we get human form. Daiva hetukam. It's by the grace of God only we get the human body. Hmm? That it says, Manusyatvam mumukshitvam mahapurusha samsaya. Hmm? So, by the grace of God alone, we get the human body and these qualities: humanity, human body with full of humanity, and a desire for liberation or spiritual evolution, and a guide to desire us. All this happens by the Daiva Hetukam. Um, so that's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying here. Is human body is insignificant thing. It is so much inspiring and gives us strength. We have been born as a human being, so we have done a lot of good things. If you follow the karma, so to become a human being is like rising the manifestation varieties of species and rising at the top of the of the pyramid of the species. The Hindus, the Sanatana Dharma, Vedanta says 84,100,000 species. At the top is human being. So that is the last and final species that one becomes to get emancipation. Though God is present in all, human beings are the best manifest. And every religion says, and in the Bible, it is said God made a human being and he asked angels, bow down to that. Someone created by God doesn't look like, doesn't have wings to fly. Why should I bow down? They have not less things. And one all bowed down, one didn't bow down. And he was Iblis. So he became Satan. So who didn't follow God's words. Those who didn't follow God's words, those who do not follow the scripture of God. God says, love all, be truthful, be kind to all. So when we do not follow God's word, we are closer to Iblis, closer to Satan. So when we follow God's words, we are devotees where God manifests. So human beings are the species through which God manifests fully. The God is present in all beings as their spirit, aham atma gudakesa, sarva bhuta saiste. He says bhuta, beings. Here also Sri Ramakrishna says, God is present in all beings, in all animals, all plants, and he goes to say all beings. So beings means even non-living beings. God is present everywhere equally. God, they say, is like you have seen rasgulla, one sweet is there. It's soaked in sugar syrup. So cheese balls soaked in sugar syrup. So they say it's every pore of that sweet ball is impregnated, is filled with sugar syrup. So every part of it is sweet. Like that is God is making everything in it is there in every pore of the creation. There is God to say that penetrating every pore of the creation. Like that, every being there is God. But He manifests more in living beings also, in human beings, and among human beings also there is classification. Among human beings, He is more manifest in devotees or good persons, more manifestation of God. We also, in common language, we say godly person. Even those who do not believe in God, they will also say this phrase, oh, he's godly person. So godly person has got so divine qualities. All has transcended the human limitation, has become divine. He can love those who even do not like him. He has that quality. When you transcend that, you cross the barrier of a human being, and then you become on the side of the divinity, manifesting divinity. So that's what they say. Even like some places, they're so beautiful. Hmm? There is one province or a state in India they call God's own country. because it's so beautiful, natural, ocean, forest, hills, God's own country. And there was in democracy, there are governments. Sometimes we have democratic government, sometimes we have communist government. And when communists came in power, they retained that. They would advertise, visit Kerala, God's own country. They don't believe in God, but they would advertise as God's own country. That is what God's, where nature is so benevolent, so joyful, so appreciative, welcoming. Come here, like that. So nothing less than that they found interesting or welcoming. So Sri Ramakrishna also says, and Rama said to Lakshmana about the elephant that being big in size is not the glory. Being big in your thought, in your mind, that is the glory. Elephant is such a big animal, biggest animal moving on the land at present. There were dinosaurs, they said, bigger. In water, blue whale is bigger, but on the land, elephant is the biggest animal. So big animal, but what it can do, and its brain is also quite developed than compared to other animals, they say. But it cannot think of God. It cannot think of anything other than its own ahar and nidra bhaya maithunam cha, on how to eat, how to survive, how to enjoy. Only that is there. Something higher it cannot think. Being big in size doesn't make it evolved thing. So human being is such a evolved species. But in the incarnation, there is a greater manifestation of God than in other men. So when Sri Ramakrishna writes here men, Manus from Bengali, the men is you have to read as men and women. Earlier time there was no men means included both men and women. In fact, in women there is men. Every WAMEN, isn't it MEN there? So men means here we all have to say men and women. Manus, it was there translated as men. Rama said to Lakshmana, brother, if you see in a man, again man and woman, okay? If you see in a man ecstatic love of God, even man and woman is not complete nowadays. Things have changed than what we were in the man and even and every gender. Okay? Brother, if you see in a man ecstatic love of God, if he laughs, weeps, and dances in divine ecstasy, then know for certain that I dwell in him. So God is there when there is divine ecstasy. So Rama said to Lakshmana in Ramayana. And much later Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitameva va tattadeva avagat sattvam mama tejom sasambhavam. Wherever you see any extraordinary glory and attractiveness, know for certain that has come from a portion of my glory, portion of my quality. So he has got that. All glory is the glory of God. The master remained silent. After a few minutes, he resumed the conversation. Master, Keshav Sen used to come here frequently. As a result, he changed a great deal. Of late, he became quite remarkable man. Many a time he came here with his party, but he also wanted to come alone. In the earlier years of his life, Keshav didn't have much opportunity to live in the company of holy men. Keshav was a great orator, he was a reformer, and also was a leader of a religious entity, religious group called Brahmo Samaj, who didn't like the Hindus' way of worshipping God in image, and they started worshipping God in formless aspect of God, and only the teachings of God that come from Upanishads. They discarded all rituals, all forms of God, all Puranas, nothing. So what they accepted only the Upanishadic or Vedantic portion of from the Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, and on that they based their religion called Brahmo Samaj. So Keshav Sen, there were a few fractions of Brahmo Samaj. Keshav Sen was one of the major factions leader called Sadharan Brahmo Samaj, which later become Navavidhan. So that Brahmo Samaj was most popular Brahmo Samaj. And because he was very well known as a orator, and people used to throng him to listen to him in big number. And he was very well respected and he had a great name all over India. He was so much famous that Queen of England, Queen Victoria, invited him to dine with him in England. So famous. How many people would Queen Victoria invite? So he had become so famous. Now research have gone. They say there was some meaning, uh, some thing was going on in other people to raise Keshav Sen to make him feel like he can combine together and make an influence of Christianity, something to the way of worship of Christianity. They had started that Bible and Vedanta put together. So to make promote that thing also was there. They say now business goes on, but still Queen Victoria invited him. So he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. He used to come often to Sri Ramakrishna, he says, and he used to come in a group because he was always surrounded by group. Wherever he went, his group, 10, 20, 30 people would go with him. And but he wanted to come alone. Sri Ramakrishna was one thing, and he found Keshav Sen really devotee, really having some quality of a true devotee. And he must have wanted him to come alone so that he can instruct him. But he was always surrounded by the group of people, and he said he wanted to come alone. That was very important. When Narendranath came with his devotees, and Sri Ramakrishna fed something, and Narendra said, "My friends are there. Don't bother. I will feed them." And he said later on, he said, "Come alone." So that was his always thing, so that he can give instruction and know about that person and guide him on the real path of spirituality. So in a group, all are not of the same capacity. So different people need different direction, different instruction. So he wants to do that, and he said he has a great change has come in him. He used to always observe. Sri Ramakrishna's observation was great among the devotees. If you read his story in Kashipur, he will always say, "How do you find him? Hasn't a great change has come in Pratap, in Dr. Sarkar? How much change has come in him? He's thinking of me. I cannot ask him to meditate upon me, but he is himself thinking." Oh, he was the one once that Dr. Sarkar was treating Sri Ramakrishna. He said, "I was worried about you, whether they have remembered to close the windows. It is winter, the breeze is coming, and you are suffering. I was worried in the morning, early morning, my sleep broke." And Sri Ramakrishna was very happy. Not because he was worried for Sri Ramakrishna, but he was thinking of Sri Ramakrishna. He said, "I cannot ask him to think of me." He was the egotistic person. But he was thinking, whether he's suffering or not, worried or not. He was worried, but thinking of Sri Ramakrishna, that itself. So much change has come. So in Keshav Sen, so much change has come of late, he says. And in earlier time, he had no opportunity to live with a holy man. So he was the reformer, orator, studied something, but he had not mingled with the holy persons we call sadhus. So without that, real devotion, real politeness doesn't come, humility doesn't come. One becomes, if one is just only name and fame comes and they don't have this humility, so that is the danger of becoming famous. And humility comes by seeing sadhu, mingling with them, seeing their nature. You'll find our Sarvapriyanji so much talking about monks of the Himalayas. He has seen many monks of our order. He talks about them also. But few months he was in Himalayas, and so much he talks about those monks, though mostly it is about the Vedanta what he learned. But that is what mixing with the sadhus, with other devotees. So he didn't mingle, or he didn't have opportunity to meet with the devotees. So what was the lacking thing in Keshav? Sri Ramakrishna will say later. I visited him at his house in Kolutola Street in Belgorия. Hridaya was with me. We were shown into the room where Keshav was working. He was writing something. After a long while, he put aside his pen, got off his chair, and sat on the floor with us. But he didn't salute us or show us respect in any other way. So So you see, Sri Ramakrishna has come such a already famous as a one who has had the vision of Mother Kali. Some are already accepting him as the avatar, some as great monk. But Keshav Sen was so famous, was met Queen Victoria. How that pride will go? He didn't show any sort of respect, let alone salute or touching ground or doing namaskar. So he didn't learn this. Sri Ramakrishna says he had not learned that thing. So that was the thing. He didn't feel that one has to greet if one sees sadhu. So that was all. I am a great speaker. I am a more famous person. You have come here. Sri Ramakrishna was such a wonderful person. He used to go and meet any person who is famous, who has some stuff in it. He went to meet this our Dayananda Saraswati, and also Rabindranath Thakur's father. He went to see. All great person, whoever used to come, Sri Ramakrishna was eager to find out what is greatness in them. And he went to see Keshav Sen, not invited. Keshav didn't invite. Sri Ramakrishna came he was going on working in the desk, and only humility he was. He didn't sit on the chair in front of Sri Ramakrishna, but sat on the ground with him. At least that much he did. And Sri Ramakrishna is observing. See that observance that Sri Ramakrishna does, everything. And it was so many years ago. He's saying now so beautifully about what he did, how he behaved like that. But he didn't salute us. He had not, because he had not met any holy person. He used to come here now and then. One day in a spiritual mood, I said to him, one should not sit before a sadhu with one leg over the other. That increases one's rajas. So he didn't say it is like a disrespect or something. He said it is not good for you. It increases your rajas, that he said. As soon as he and his friends would arrive, I would salute them. How he taught Sri Ramakrishna. I would salute them before they bowed to me. They didn't know how to bow down. So he showed how what to do. He used to bow down. You know the story with Girish Ghosh. He was also a great famous person. This sadhu living in a house and only talking of God, what he knows. So he didn't know how to show respect to a holy man. So he came straight, and Sri Ramakrishna bowed down. So he thought, oh, this is not good. So he bowed down low. Sri Ramakrishna bowed still lower. So he still bowed down still lower. Like that, he taught Girish Ghosh how to bow down. Not that you should bow down, not that. Only in a different mood, he said you should not do that. So as soon as he and his friends would arrive, I would salute them before they bowed to me. That's what who said that. One of the devotees, one of the thinkers said that pranam was his astra in this life. He killed the ego of other people. He didn't kill any Kamsa and Ravana, but he killed the ego in the other person. What was his weapon? And others some had this dhanush, this arrow and bow. Some had this Sudarshan chakra. What weapon Sri Ramakrishna had? He had this pranama astra, this bowing down astra. That itself was one weapon to kill the ego in other people. So I would salute them before, and they bowed to me. Thus they gradually learned to salute a holy man, touching the ground with their foreheads. So he taught him fully how to show respect to a holy person. I said to Keshav, chant the name of Hari. In the Kali Yuga, one should sing the name and glories of God. After that, they began to sing the name of God with drums and cymbals. They started doing kirtan, which were opposed. They didn't want to do singing the name of God like the Vaishnavas did. That was very much opposed to Vaishnava philosophy. And the founder of Brahmo Samaj, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, his mother was a devout Hindu and great devotee of Krishna. So, but Ram Mohan Rai didn't accept Krishna or any form of God, didn't accept the idol worship, and totally opposed to what his mother did. And that Brahmo Samaj started as in opposition to Krishna Bhakti. Now this Brahmo Samaj in a now in modern form, as the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj, he now sings the name of God with music, with instrument playing, with cymbals. And he sings the name of Hari and the name of Mother also. Earlier, before meeting Sri Ramakrishna, they used to chant the name of Brahma. Hmm? Only Brahma, from Upanishad, some stotras. But now he learned to chant the name of Hari. In the Kali Yuga, one should sing the name and glories of God, he said. After that, they began to sing the name of God with drums and cymbals. Do you know how my faith in the name of Hari was all the more strengthened? Holy men, as you know, frequently visit the temple garden. Once a sadhu from Multan arrived. He was waiting for a party going to Ganga Sagar. Pointing to him, the sadhu was of his age. It was he who said to me, the way to realize God in the Kali Yuga is the path of bhakti as prescribed by Narada. So Sri Ramakrishna, whenever he learned anything from anyone, whatever he seemed to be very important and powerful in this, he practiced that and preached that. He refers to the sadhu from Multan. Multan is so far away from Calcutta; it's totally in the west. Now it is in Pakistan. So from there, sadhu have come to Ganga Sagar, and he said to him, in the Kali Yuga, the path is following the path of Narada Bhakti. So what is Narada's Bhakti? Narada's Bhakti is singing the glory of God, one of that. Narada says, actually, my path is surrendering all our actions to God. Tadarpita akhila acharata. All actions you should be surrendered to God. You work for God alone. And tad vismarane parama vyakulata. When you forget him, there should be great yearning for him. So tad vismarane parama vyakulata. That is Narada's path. And say in Kali Yuga, that is the thing that should be practiced. That is most important, to repeat the name of God, to work in the name of God, to offer the fruits of action to God. That is the path. And he heard from a sadhu, he remembers the age, and he points out to him that he was of his age. So everything that scene that was there, Sri Ramakrishna remembers. And he gives all credit of learning this. And he used to always say, in the Kali Yuga, the path is following the Narada's Bhakti. He used to say to everyone. One day, Keshav came here with his followers. They stayed till 10 at night. We were all seated in the Panchavati. Pratap and several others said they would like to spend the night here. Keshav said, no, I must go. I have some work to do. I laughed and said, can't you sleep without the smell of a fish basket? So he will tell a story. So Keshav couldn't leave outside. Somebody says, sometimes they make a joke. His wife must have said, wherever you are, daytime, nighttime, you must come here, like that they say. They say sometime there was a saying that people, or somebody said in a competition, that everyone is afraid of his wife. So they said, no, how can that be? Everyone afraid. So in the court of the whole time king, and he said, those who are afraid of wife, they stand on the right side. Those who are not afraid stand on the left side. So all stood on the right side. One person stood on the left side. And he said to the minister, you say, you are saying everyone is afraid. There is one person at least, he is not afraid of wife. Then the minister went to him, why did you stand on this side? All had gone on that side. Aren't you afraid of his wife? What is the reason that you stood on this side? He said, no, actually my wife has said, wherever all go, don't go on that side. So you are totally following his wife. That is the joke they say. So here also, Sri Ramakrishna said that he must be something. He cannot sleep without fish basket or being something or told him or something. So this Pratap was the one who came to here. He was the assistant to our Keshav Sen. He came to the west. Um, and so he was also there. He was also leader of Ramu Samaj. And they wanted to stay, but Keshav says, I can't stay. I have some work to do. And Sri Ramakrishna says, work is just excuse. There must be something more, that you cannot stay away from home. So, and he says the story of a fisherwoman. Once a wife, fish wife and fisherwoman. Once a fish wife was a guest in the house of a gardener who raised flowers. She came there with her empty basket after selling fish in the market. and was asked to sleep in a room where flowers were kept. So he told this story to Keshav Sen. Now he's saying to the devotees there sitting there. But because of the fragrance of the flowers, she couldn't get to sleep for a long time. Her hostess saw her condition and said, "Hello, why are you tossing from side to side so restlessly?" The fish wife said, "I don't know, friend. Perhaps the smell of the flowers has been disturbing my sleep. Can you give me my fish basket? Perhaps that will put me to sleep." The basket was brought to her. She sprinkled water on it and set it near her nose. Then she fell sound asleep and snored all night. So they need their own, many people can't sleep when they change their bed. That's their new place, you can't get sleep like that. The fisherwoman was used to the smell of fish. Without that smell of flower was too unwelcome to sleep. It won't get her sleep. So she wanted her fish basket, or for which she was used. So Sri Ramakrishna says it is like that. And listening to the at this story, the followers of Keshav burst into loud laughter. All the laugh, they could understand the meaning what he was saying to Keshav Sen, that you also need the same thing to go to bed, and you cannot sleep without your usual habitat. So Keshav conducted the prayer that evening. That evening, when he had come to Dakshineswar, he was there up to 10 p.m. at night. Keshav, he was so attracted to Sri Ramakrishna. He didn't show respect when he went there. That later on, he understood the greatness of Sri Ramakrishna. In fact, it was Keshav Sen who made Sri Ramakrishna known to the people of Calcutta. He wrote an article on Sri Ramakrishna in Indian Mirror, the common journal of that time, Indian Mirror. And people knew about Sri Ramakrishna. They started coming. So he was an advanced soul. Sri Ramakrishna also said he was an advanced soul in spirituality, and he could fathom the depth of the spirituality of Sri Ramakrishna. Keshav conducted the prayer that evening at the bathing ghat on the river. After the worship, I said to him, "It is God who manifests himself in such as the Vedas, the Puranas, and the Tantras. In another aspect, he has become the devotee. The heart of the devotee is God's drawing room. One can easily find one's master in the drawing room. Therefore, by worshipping his devotee, one worships God Himself." It's called some say neo Vedanta, some say practical Vedanta. Is this trying to find God in every human being, in every devotee? And Sri Ramakrishna originated that. What Swami Vivekananda revealed four very nice lectures on practical Vedanta. But this is what is the basis of practical Vedanta: seeing God manifest in every human being, and particularly the devotees. And he said to Keshav Sen, who believed that God reveals only through the scriptures. So he said, scriptures are no doubt the revelation of God. God is there in the message of the scriptures, Vedas, Puranas, and Tantras. The Brahmo Samaj, Keshav said, they confine themselves only to the Vedas and only to the Upanishadic portion of the Vedas. Even Puranas and Tantra they didn't recognize. So he says Puranas and Tantra are also valid place where God reveals Himself through the message and teachings of the Puranas and Tantra, like Vedas. So it is not only there, and God manifests through human beings, through devotees. And his saying was, the heart of the devotee is the parlor of God. Why he said that? He said, God, when you have to see God, you have to go to the place where He is most likely to be found. Parlor is the place the person sees, is the office of the person. So office of the God is the heart of the devotee. So if you go there, then God is always present. You can find God in the heart of the devotee. So he said that to Keshav Sen. Keshav Sen started respecting human beings and adoring devotees. That was Sri Ramakrishna's practical Vedanta. See God not only in the scriptures. He couldn't say in the temples because he didn't believe in temples. He said only scriptures, whatever one can take. So not only in the scriptures, not only in the temples, but in the human beings. So that's wonderful. Keshav and his followers listened to my words with great attention. It was a full moon night. The sky was flooded with light. We were seated in the open court at the top of the stairs leading to the river. I said, "Now let us chant Bhagavata Bhakta Bhagavan." So they chanted, Bhagavata Bhakta Bhagavan. Next, I said to him, said to them, say, Brahman is verily Shakti, Shakti is verily Brahman. Again, they chanted in unison. Brahman is verily Shakti, Shakti is verily Brahman. I said to them, he whom you address as Brahma is none other than she whom I call the mother. Mother is a very sweet name. So he's bringing more knowledge to Brahmos that we call Brahma, that Brahma manifests as mother. So all description of your Brahma as all powerful, one without a second, manifesting all, there's all, I call him mother. So that's what he tried to make them, because they were like sectarian, only this much and no more. Now he wants to make them expand in their opinion and idea about God, that God is worshipped not only as Brahman, those who worship Mother, Shakti, also worship the same God, different name. So how he is trying to teach them the very essence of spirituality. Then I said to them, say, Guru Krishna Vaishnava. At this, Keshav said, we must not go so far, sir. If we do that, then all will take us for orthodox Vaishnavas. So Sri Ramakrishna, how is stretching them? Say this Bhagavata Bhakta Bhagavan, that itself was so big for them to say Bhakta and Bhagavan, only Brahma, they will say. Bhagavan concept is also not there. They all chanted Bhagavata Bhakta Bhagavan. Then say Shakti, Shakti Brahma, they also chanted. Now when it says Guru Krishna Vaishnava, so then Keshav protested. No, that's not. Then what is our specialty then? What is our sect then? We will become, people will think that we have become common Vaishnavas, Guru Krishna Vaishnava, like that. So it was so fantastic that how Sri Ramakrishna stressed them. I used to tell Keshav now and then how long he's describing now about the Keshav Sen and his story with him. And how Keshav Sen stayed there afternoon, evening, and at night, and conducted their prayer there in the bathing ghat. I used to tell Keshav now and then, he whom you address as Brahman is none other than she whom I call Shakti, the primal energy. It is called Brahman in the Vedas when it transcends speech and thought and is without attributes and action. I call it Shakti, Adya Shakti, and so forth, when I find it creating, preserving, and destroying the universe. So wonderful explanation of relationship between creation and the transcendent God, transcendent and immanence, this nature of God. Brahman is transcendent in one way. So Brahman is perfect. It has nothing to do with creation, because it is perfect. It has no want. It doesn't want to create. Creation means something desired to create. So Brahman, as the definition goes, it cannot have any desire, not even to create, not even to do good. So then who creates? The theory came, Brahman's power creates. Not Brahman itself, it's power creates. What is that power? It's called Shakti. Shakti creates, preserves, and destroys. So all it takes, Big Bang and Big Crunch, all that will happen. So he explained that what you call Brahman as one reality, that I call as Shakti. When I see that same being, and Shakti and Brahman are not separate. They are not. How you look upon that you would address him as Shakti or Brahman. If you think it as transcendent reality, not connected, then it becomes Brahman. When you see as immanent reality, that it is there in the world, it creates, preserves, and destroys, then it becomes Shakti. All these avatars and all the stories of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, all is story of Shakti. And what is Brahman? Brahman is that reality which is not concerned or connected with this world. It just is. It is the basis of this reality. And Sri Ramakrishna said that the basis of this creation and the creator Shakti are the same thing. The Brahman is, when it is seen as something creating, some being creating, then protecting, and then sustaining, and then dissolving, when called Shakti or Divine Mother, that same being, when it is thought of as being not acting anything, it cannot act, Brahman cannot act. That's why they found later on the philosophy of Shiva and Shakti, beautiful Shiva Shakti. Lunar, our this Chandrayaan 3, it landed in moon, and the spot is named as Shiva Shakti Sthal, the place where Shiva and Shakti meet together. What is Shiva Shakti? Shiva is that transcendent aspect of God. Shakti is that active aspect of God. But that is best depicted in the image of Kali, Kali and Shiva. So you'll find Kali with four arms, with a sword and boon and blessing, fearlessness, and all that. She is standing on the chest of Shiva. Shiva is transcendent reality, made symbolically that figure called Savarupa Shiva. He's like in the form of a dead body. He's not dead. He is like a dead body. Savarupa, not Sava. Savarupa Shiva. Shiva is that. He is immersed in that, his real nature. And mother is active, creating, protecting, destroying, all that. Evils are to be destroyed and goods are to be protected. And what does she create? Both good and evil. Both she creates. And she creates evil and she destroys evil. She protects good. And finally, she destroys everything. Good and evil, all they merge into nothingness. That is what the philosophy is. But Mother, Divine Mother Shakti, is ineffective. She cannot work without Brahman, without Shiva. That's why she has to be in touch with Shiva. All power for her creation she gets from Shiva. And Shiva himself cannot do anything. He is non-transactionable, says Swami Kripamayananda. He is inactive. He cannot do anything. He needs Kali or Shakti to create. So this two together, Shiva and Shakti, they are the one is the transcendent basis of whole creation, all power, and this power manifest is the Shakti. And when both are there, without both being together, nothing, no creation happens. So that is what we worship as Shiva and Kali. Though in worshipping Mother Kali, Sri Ramakrishna said that same as Brahman, that whom we call Brahman, I call Kali. No difference. Both are one, seen in a different forms, different ways. Approach is different, but they are one. This understanding that both are one, we need Sri Ramakrishna to make this religion practical, simple, understandable for the common masses. The spirituality made simplified so that all can accept according to their interest, their capacity. They can accept the spirituality and make their life more beautiful, fulfilled. That's what Sri Ramakrishna Advent is there. So we'll conclude here today's class. So next we'll read next class of uh, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna whenever it falls. Now the closing chants. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sridva Pranamami Muhurmu. When we bow down to Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, this is also Shiva and Shakti worshipping.